Hello everyone, I'm Meghan Sullivan and welcome to my demo review for Star Ocean: The Divine Force, developed by Tri-Ace and published by Square Enix. I played the demo on the PlayStation 5 and I have a lot of thoughts, so let's talk about them. But first, a gentle reminder that if you like this video and want to see more content like it, please like and subscribe and click that adorable little bell and I'll be sure to bring you more RPG and history in games goodness. Thank you. So, before I get started, I wanted to be upfront about one thing. I have played very little of the Star Ocean series. I played like an hour or two of the last Star Ocean, and I may have played a little bit of an earlier entry in the series, I can't remember, but it just never really clicked with me. However, the reason I decided to review this Star Ocean is because I was hoping it would convince me to give the series another chance. And guess what? I think it may have actually done just that. But here's the problem. The reason I'm not entirely sure is because the demo is way too short. It ends super abruptly, like literally in the middle of a conversation. I have no idea why the developer decided to do that. It didn't end on an exciting cliffhanger, it just sort of ended. But despite this bizarre choice, I enjoyed my brief 2-hour run with Star Ocean: The Divine Force. It made me smile. Now, does that smile translate into dropping money for the full experience? Well, hold on, let's talk about that. So, I was going to mention the story first, but the truth is there's not much to tell. All we know so far is that you, the player, start off as Raymond Lawrence, aka Titus in Space, captain of the starship Edus, who while traveling with highly classified cargo is suddenly attacked by the Pan-Galactic Federation. I don't know what this federation is, but I'm assuming it's similar to the Citadel Council in Mass Effect, maybe? This attack forces Raymond and his crew to abandon ship via escape pods. However, they all get separated and Raymond ends up crash landing on a mysterious planet where the towns look more like something out of Skyrim than No Man's Sky. By the way, this medieval aesthetic might turn off some sci-fi fans, but I've always preferred a medieval setting to a futuristic one, so that actually made me happy. At any rate, Raymond is immediately attacked by a giant toad, as one is, and is saved by Princess Crown's very own Bradriel. Sorry, Princess Leticia and Albert, a character trope I've seen half a dozen times in half a dozen other JRPGs. Together they team up to murder the poor confused amphibian and then agree to team up again so that Raymond can find his missing comrades and Leticia can find a missing mage who might be the key to defeating the aggressive evil empire threatening her kingdom. There's always an evil empire in these games, I swear. The trio then set off on their adventure and get a whole 2 towns in before the demo abruptly ends.
That was strange.
Yes, Albert, that was strange. And that's not the only strange thing about this game. That weird feeling extends to the graphics, not the settings. The environments are fine. I like the scale of the planet, I like that it's spacious, I don't like how empty it feels right now, but that could change. But in terms of digital traversable space, Star Ocean is very pretty and fun to navigate. What's not quite as pretty are the frame rate drops. In fact, even when you prioritize frame rate over visual quality in the settings, there is still a precipitous drop in the frame rate. I mean, it's really bad. That needs to be fixed. But the good news is that it is fixable. More problematic are the character models. Wow, are these characters ugly. First of all, they all look like cheap plastic dolls. And why? Why do their mouths move up and down like they're deranged nutcrackers? It's so goofy, it's kind of amusing, but what the hell is she wearing? What is this trash tier anime garbage? This outfit is so damn offensive, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Come on, Tri-Ace, be better than this, seriously. No, I don't want to hear how her butt is a part of her character. Ugh. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the models are a D+ at best. And yet strangely, the cast itself is so quirky, they've kind of grown on me. Maybe that's because the English voice actors are trying their best to work with a cheesy, awkward script. And yes, there's a Japanese voiceover option. Plus swears, so many swears. Look at Ray's swear. He's edgy, you know. Okay, so the cast is goofy and the story is sparse, which it wouldn't be if we had more time with the demo, but we don't, so let's move on to the gameplay, which is the most important thing. And this is where Star Ocean both frustrated me and pleasantly surprised me. So the best thing about Star Ocean the Divine Force has got to be the traversal system. You guys, it's so much fun! Not only can your characters race across the map at Roadrunner speed, but they can fly. Sort of. Essentially how it works is you use a little space pod buddy named Duma, whom you acquire during the first boss fight, to scan the world for any important items using the L2 button, and then use the R1 button to torpedo through the air to reach out of the way places or get to your destination faster. And although you can only stay in the air for so long, you can get pretty far. Now this feature doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything, but I enjoyed using it at every opportunity. I could flit across rooftops and glide over borders at will, and I even saved a cat stuck on a roof once with my powers of flight. Yay! Having said that, it's really odd that even though you can easily swan your way over chimney stacks, you can't really jump well. It's like my characters are banging their heads against a very low and visible ceiling. I don't quite understand why that is. And I will say that although I like the open plains that our heroes can zip around, they're not very exciting to explore. I mean, you can do things like catch little bunnies to acquire special items and collect gems that can be spent on upgrading stuff, and of course you can pick fights with enemies. But so far there aren't any interesting buildings or caves to poke around in, which is a wee bit disappointing. But like I said, that could change later. Luckily, the music is not disappointing, so there's that. But what about combat? Well, the good news is it's pretty fun. But the bad news is that this is where I started to get frustrated with Star Ocean. I think part of the problem is the obtuse tutorial. The developer throws a lot of information at you in a hurry, and some parts of the tutorial read like a math equation. If character A uses 50% of their AV gauge to launch themselves at enemy B, but then uses their blindside ability to change the angle of their trajectory by 35%, how much will their AP meter increase by? What? I don't know, Triace, just let me play the damn game. To make matters worse, the font is so tiny. I feel like I need a magnifying glass to make anything out. This is a poor UI design choice. And the worst part is you can't enlarge the font, so you're kind of just stuck with it. There's also some other minor annoyances that can't easily be rectified. Like the fact that there's a lot of visual effects during battle, which can be confusing and distracting. And although you can go into the settings and pull the battle camera way back, it's not uncommon to have your view blocked by a rock or a tree branch. How annoying is that? Now, I like the idea of having a radar that warns you of incoming enemy attacks, but I don't like that it only works when you're standing still, and look at this. These little radars are teeny tiny. Once again, we have a problem not being able to see things clearly. Triace, what are you doing? That is not good UI design. You're lucky that the combat is still fun. No, really, it is. It's not perfect. In fact, it feels a tiny bit clunky at times, but it's still fun. Let me explain. Star Ocean the Divine Force is action-based, as most JRPGs tend to be nowadays. In combat, you can control any one of the three main characters and freely swap between them, tapping the D-pad. What's fun about this is each character has their own weapons and skills, so they feel sufficiently different from one another, which means their unique combat styles keep battles from getting too repetitive. By the way, I have to shout out Albert's chakras. It makes me think of my level 90 dancer Yulia in Final Fantasy XIV, and that makes me so happy. Ahem. At any rate, individual attacks and skills are tied to face buttons and can be strung together to create combos which are fully customizable. And I like that because it gives players a nice bit of agency. Another feature I appreciate is the ability to freely spend skill points earned in battle however you want. You can spend them on learning new attacks or powering up ones you already know. You can use them to upgrade your Duma-related skills. We'll talk about those in a second. You can upgrade your stats. This node system reminds me of Final Fantasy X, by the way. You can upgrade your passive abilities, and so forth. Again, there's no reinventing the wheel here, but this kind of customization makes Star Ocean more engaging than it otherwise would be. By the way, the customization also extends to the game's settings. You can adjust the game's brightness, audio, visual quality, etc., etc. So why can't I fix the font and turn off the visual effects in battle, Triace? The point is, customization is good. But the most unique thing about Star Ocean's combat is the Duma system. Remember the little robot buddy I mentioned earlier? Well, that little pod not only allows you to scan for treasure and fly through the sky, it allows your heroes to access a feature known as Vanguard Assault. This ability lets you lock onto an enemy from afar and then literally crash into them for a surprise attack, which stuns enemies and allows you to cut them down before they can react. So that's cool. Now sometimes the enemy will see you, especially if there's a mob of them, but if you launch yourself at a target and then flick the joystick to change trajectory, you can blindside the enemy and gain the advantage, and will be rewarded with more stamina so you can unleash more attacks. Now I'm not gonna lie, this mechanic can sometimes be tricky. When switching targets, the lock-on system can feel a tidge wonky, and the result of that is that sometimes when trying to attack, I launch myself straight into a rock or whip past enemies altogether. This clunkiness is one of the reasons I'm unsure about Star Ocean. Is this just a matter of me getting used to the mechanics? Does this get better as more skills and abilities open up? I don't know, and that kind of worries me. Still, most of the time it was pretty fun, and I guess I can always do that familiar loop where I buy a bunch of healing items, go out into the world and better acquaint myself with mechanics by level grinding, use said healing items. Ooh, I like that in battle you can actually pause the action to heal. That's pretty darn handy. Grind some more, hit up the local inn for a meal and a rest. Also, what's up with the sound at the inn? Like, why does the innkeeper sound muffled?
Welcome. Are you travelers?
That's weird. And do the whole thing over again. On the other hand, I really shouldn't have to do that. Look, the combat is fun, but to be honest, it's not intuitive, and that's a problem. But is it a deal breaker? No. Star Ocean: The Divine Force is still on my radar, which is pretty impressive since there are over 30 other RPGs coming out that are vying for my attention. Now, will I run out and get it day one? I'm afraid the answer is probably not. I'm gonna have to see how the reviews pan out before I decide. But I will say I think the demo is worth your time, especially if you're already a Star Ocean fan. In fact, I suspect many of you have already played the demo. So I gotta know, did it convince you to purchase the full experience or not so much? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.